Imagine this. One of the richest men on the planet, Andrew Carnegie, gives you a heck of an assignment. He says, I want you to spend the next 20 years figuring out the single secret to success. Well, that's exactly what happened to a young man named Napoleon Hill. And the result? A book that holds a secret so powerful it could change everything. But there's a catch. It's hidden inside.
Right from the start, Hill throws down the gauntlet. He says, look, the secret is in here, it's mentioned over and over again, but I'm never going to spell it out for you. It's not some magic password or a simple life hack. No, it's a principle that only reveals itself when you're truly looking for it, when you are ready.
And right here, we find the foundation for everything that follows. The core idea is this: thoughts are things. Now that sounds simple, but think about what it means. Not just random, fleeting ideas, but actual powerful forces. Hill's big claim is that when you mix a thought with a definite purpose, with persistence and a white-hot burning desire, it can literally transform from something in your head into a physical reality.
So, if thoughts can become things, where do you even begin this internal journey? Well, it doesn't start with a simple wish. It doesn't start with a vague hope. According to Hill, the absolute, non-negotiable starting point of all achievement is a burning desire. We're talking an all-consuming obsession.
Think about this guy, Edwin C. Barnes. He had one single, all-consuming obsession: to become the business associate of the great Thomas Edison. Notice that, not to work for him, but to work with him. Problem was, Barnes had no money, no connections. He literally hopped a freight train to get there. When he showed up, Edison himself said he looked like an ordinary tramp. But Edison saw something in his eyes, a fierce determination that said, I will not be denied. So, Barnes took a menial job, sweeping floors, whatever he could do just to get his foot in the door, all the while keeping his eye on the prize.
And here's the thing. Edison himself recognized what Hill was talking about. He said that when someone desires something so deeply that they are willing to bet their entire future on it, they're guaranteed to win. It wasn't luck that got Barnes his chance. It was the sheer force of his desire.
And that's the real difference, isn't it? Wishing is passive. You just kind of hope something happens. But a desire, in Hill's world, is an active, pulsating obsession. It's definite. Barnes didn't just wish he could work with Edison. He burned all his bridges behind him. For him, it was win or perish. There was no plan B.
So, how do you take this internal fire and turn it into something real? Well, Hill gives a surprisingly practical 6-step formula, and it demands absolute clarity. Step 1. Not I want more money, but the exact amount, down to the penny. Step 2, decide what you're going to give for it, because there's no such thing as something for nothing. Step 3, not someday, but a definite date. Step 4, make a plan, and this is key, you start at once. Step 5, write it all down. But the real magic happens in Step 6. You read it out loud, every morning and every night. And as you do, you have to see, feel, and believe you already have it. You're basically programming your subconscious mind for success.
Okay, so desire is the spark, but a spark is just a spark, right? It won't get you through the tough times, through the inevitable setbacks. You need fuel for the journey. And that fuel, according to Hill, is persistence. It's the one thing that separates the winners from the massive crowd of people who just quit. Let me tell you this crazy story about a man named R.U. Darby. He and his uncle got gold fever, they bought all the equipment, and they started digging. And guess what? They struck a vein of ore. They were ecstatic, but then it just vanished. They kept drilling but found nothing. Completely defeated, they quit. They sold all their machinery to a junk man for a couple $100 and went home. But this junk man, he was a little smarter. He hired an engineer who took one look and said the gold vein was still there, just 3 feet from where the Darbys had stopped digging. The junk man went on to take millions from that very mine. Now here's the kicker. Darby could have been bitter for the rest of his life. But instead, he took his biggest failure and turned it into his greatest lesson. His new motto became, I stopped 3 feet from gold, but I will never stop again. He went on to build a huge fortune with that mindset, because he learned that most success is found just one step beyond the point where you feel completely defeated. So what fuels that kind of persistence when everything is telling you to give up? Hill calls it faith. But let's be very clear. He's not talking about a religious concept here. He defines it as a state of mind that you actively create. He calls it the eternal elixir, the chemical that gives your thoughts real power. You build it through something he calls autosuggestion. The best way to think about it is like training a muscle in your mind.
By constantly telling your subconscious mind that you can and will do it, you build this unshakable belief, this absolute conviction in yourself. All right, desire is the start, persistence is the fuel. But every great hero's journey has a dragon to slay, right? And in this journey, the dragon lives inside your own mind. It's that collection of inner ghosts, the fears that paralyze us and stop us from ever really going after what we want.
So what's the root of this dragon? Where does it come from? It's something so simple, so deceptive, you might miss it. Indecision. Hill says indecision is the seedling. You put off making a choice, and that seedling grows into doubt. And if you let doubt and indecision hang around long enough, they team up and become full-blown fear. That habit of not deciding, that's the habit that breeds failure.
And this fear, this dragon, it usually shows up in one of 6 main forms. The fear of poverty, the fear of what other people will think, criticism, the fear of getting sick, the fear of losing someone you love, the fear of getting old, and the big one, the fear of death. Hill argues that pretty much every worry, every anxiety we have can be traced back to one of these 6 ghosts haunting our minds. So, what you have is this battlefield inside your mind. On one side, you've got what Hill calls poverty consciousness. He says this is the default setting. If you don't actively direct your thoughts, your mind will naturally drift to worry, to lack, to what could go wrong. But on the other side is money consciousness. And this doesn't happen by accident. It has to be deliberately built. It takes constant, persistent effort to choose thoughts of abundance and success over thoughts of fear. Okay, so you've sparked the desire, you've fueled it with persistence, you've faced that inner dragon of fear. Now what? Well, now you arrive at the final stage, the triumph. This is where you achieve true mastery over your own internal world. Hill uses this beautiful metaphor. Think of your subconscious mind like a fertile garden. The thing about a garden is, it doesn't judge. It'll grow weeds with the exact same enthusiasm that'll grow prize-winning roses. It doesn't care if the seeds you plant are thoughts of success or thoughts of failure. It just gets to work bringing whatever you plant most often into reality. And this is the most empowering part of this entire philosophy. You are the gardener. You have a will. Through conscious effort, through building new habits, you get to choose which seeds you plant in that garden. You can choose to pull out the weeds of fear and doubt, and you can deliberately sow the seeds of your burning desire, day after day after day.
So we've come full circle. What is the secret that Carnegie tasked Hill with finding all those years ago? It isn't just one thing. It's not a word. It's not a trick. The secret is the understanding and, more importantly, the application of this entire system. The secret is that you can literally build your own reality by first becoming the master architect of your own thoughts. It's the conscious daily application of desire, faith, and persistence until you achieve complete control of your own mind.
Hill loved to quote this famous poem, but he always added his own critical piece to it. Why are you the master of your fate? Why are you the captain of your soul? Because, and only because, you have the absolute power to control the one thing in the universe that is truly yours, your own thoughts. That's it. That's the ultimate conclusion of his 20-year journey. In the end, Hill makes it clear that the secret isn't just something you find. It's something that finds you when you're ready to receive it, and more importantly, apply it. So the final question isn't about whether the secret is real. The question is about you. Are you ready to start the work? Are you ready?